get ready for some upbeat banter, plenty of laughs, and a whole lot of love for the game and our team. This is Buds and Blue Jays. And now your hosts, Riley McConnell and Jesse Burrell.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 12th, and welcome to episode 185 of Buds and Blue Jays, your place for all things related to the Toronto Blue Jays. As usual, Jesse Burrell joined by Riley McConnell. And Riley, the Blue Jays, man, had another chance to get back to 500. We were coming off a series win in Oakland. We really liked what we see. We thought, hey, there's a chance we can beat this Brewers team. Maybe they're not as good as the record are on paper. And Riley, we fooled ourselves because it did not happen. Losing game one, won game two. Note, game three is being played right now. It is still live. The Blue Jays are down 5-2 in the ninth, but we are starting a rally. So maybe we'll get a live reaction here if the Blue Jays do something crazy against the Milwaukee Brewers bullpen. We'll see. Stay tuned. But as things stand right now, we're kind of feeling like the L is coming and the Blue Jays will not be a 500 team coming out of this series. But Riley, man, how are you on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon?
Not too bad, Jesse. The Blue Jays had a real chance to finish this series in Milwaukee and start the season almost fresh with less games at 500. 33-33, right? That would have put us at that record, 66 games in, whatever. It looks like that's not going to happen, man. Milwaukee absolutely came through in the middle innings and capitalized on just dumb baseball mistakes. We'll get into what those mistakes were. The bullpen is part to blame, and then kind of a lapse of concentration on the infield, probably making the incorrect play. But the vibes aren't that good. Honestly, we didn't score a lot of runs in this series. Jesse, you named the starters. They had a pitcher wearing double zeros, a Rodriguez kid. I mean, good young pitcher, pick a different number. That's just ridiculous. Like, we had a real chance to come through and score a lot of runs against Milwaukee, and we didn't. We simply did not. We have 2 runs today. One came on a solo blast from Davis Schneider. At least one guy is hitting the ball, because God only knows that the rest of this lineup has been absolutely struggling.
Blue Jays did just score another run. Wild pitch moved to second, third. Bobichette infield singles. The Jays still don't have a run in the ninth, so maybe, Riley, our tone might be changing here. I hate to get optimistic about this Toronto Blue Jays team, because as soon as we do, we might. But maybe this is the way it has to go. Maybe we just got to get on live. The Blue Jays get a run, and who knows? Could be good things going forward. But look, this series, like you said, is very predictable for how the Blue Jays have played all season. On paper, we got our 3 best pitchers against 2 guys coming up and down from the minors from Milwaukee, and then Colin Ray, who doesn't have great stuff. And I don't think it surprises anybody that the Toronto Blue Jays weren't able to score a bunch of runs and do things against these soft tossing pitchers. But it's more the same. Low scoring. The pitchers pitch well, make 1 or 2 mistakes, and all of a sudden they can't get things done. And it's more the status quo for the Toronto Blue Jays so far.
I mean, Jesse, it's been an absolute nightmare for the Toronto Blue Jays offensively this season. I can't fathom it. We can't hit the good pitchers, obviously. That's obvious. And then we do get these pitchers who have struggled at points in their career, or a young pitcher who's unproven at the big league level. And we just can't capitalize. We can't take advantage and, basically get an inning where we rally around and score runs in concession and really put up a big number on the scoreboard. It feels like it's been a long time since we've played in a ball game where we even score 4 runs, or a game where we're back to back, 2 runs in the third, 3 runs in the fourth, something like that. I mean, the offenses just seem so shallow on this team, when in reality it should be a lot better.
Yeah, and it's the usual names you'd expect, right? George Springer had a poor series. We talked last episode about how Davis Schneider wasn't turning around. He did have a better game today. We'll touch about that a little bit later in this episode. But the guys you want to see do well have not been doing so well. But Riley, I want to talk a little positivity for the Toronto Blue Jays, because I don't want to be so negative. But this was our first real extended look at Spencer Horwitz, and he gets my first thumbs up for something that impressed me or stuck with me this series. Multi-hits in each game of this series. Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3. He had multi-hits in all 3 of them game. He's hit first base in the lineup for the first time today. He was doing good things. He's made all the routine plays defensively, and I really think that Spencer Horwitz into this lineup, especially with a team that really can't hit right now, is going to provide at least a little bit of a spark to help get things going forward.
5 hits and 14 at bats, Jesse.
Yeah, that'll work.
2024. That will work. Absolutely. One point shy of a 900 OPS as well. That's a very small sample size, but he is getting the at-bats. He is being placed at the top of this Toronto Blue Jays lineup. They are riding. They put a lot of pressure on this kid. And he's not a kid. I mean, he's not a 22, 23-year-old prospect anymore. I mean, this guy should be a big leaguer. He is a big leaguer right now, and I think he's here to stay. The hits, that he's accumulated are not blazing line drive pulled. Some of them are slap hits, but I really like the bat control by Spencer Horwitz. I think that's important at the top of the order. I think that also the Jays do not give a crap about infield defense when Spencer Horwitz is playing. That is clear. There is defensive compensation elsewhere on the team. We may be down one of those players for a week or so. We'll get to that as well. But they want Horwitz in this lineup. They are willing to move him to play second base. It would not surprise me at the least if he was to play a corner outfield in the upcoming series as well. Just to, kind of dive into his flexibility, his ability to play multiple positions, especially with the first baseman we do have. Why put Horowitz? If he's a plus defensively over Vogelbach, Turner, Vladdy, why put him at first base? It's a waste there. If we have to suffer through replacement level defense, sure. By all means, if he's going to collect 5 hits and 14 at-bats.
Spencer Horwitz to me reminds me a lot of like what Matt Carpenter was for the Cardinals when he was coming up. Now, Matt Carpenter changed his power profile. He ended up leaning into hitting more power and sacrificing batting average as went on. But when he first came up as a prospect, that's the type of guy I think it could be for Spencer Horwitz when he comes in. And that would be a great player. We will take that every time. By the way, Danny Jansen just walked. George Springer's up, bases loaded, nobody out. And George Springer struck out with the bases loaded, nobody out. Literally nobody.
What a surprise, Jesse. We were just saying George Springer, bad series. We have runners in scoring position. What else do you expect? Double play is on. I'm not saying it, but just frustrating that we do get in this situation with the bases loaded and nobody out in the clutchest of situations. Clutchest of situations, Jesse, in the top of the 9th inning.
Kirk is up. Alejandro Kirk Oh, God, flew out to the warning track. Jeez. So Sackfly will get a run. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is coming up. I got to turn on my rally cap for this live show we're doing here now. This hasn't really happened before, but we will see. If it works, we'll keep it going. Anyways, I wanted to talk about another few offensive players that caught my eye. One, Alejandro Kirk, who literally just flew out to the warning track right there, has had a good series. We mentioned it at the end of Oakland there. As Riley puts on a double hat, a mini Blue Jays hat on top of his other hat. For those of you who are watching, let's go rally caps. They're weird hats.
It doesn't fit too well. I should have knew to bring sticky tack this time.
Damn, yeah. Call up the Yankees and Garrett Cole. Get some spider tack in with us here. But yeah, Alejandro Kirk hit a big home run in game 1 of the series. We mentioned coming out of the Oakland series that we thought Alejandro Kirk's bat was kind of coming around. His bat speed actually does look a little quicker. And maybe he's like benefiting from the rest he's been getting a little bit here. So I think that could work out very well. And look, if Alejandro Kirk kind of is who he is, we think at the plate right now, but if he's coming in, he's only starting 2 times a week and occasionally he can run into a baseball again. That's exactly what you want from Alejandro Kirk. Quick thought on him, Riley, or do you want to talk about another offensive player?
We'll get to another offensive player. It's funny, usually the opposite with a guy not seeing the at-bats can go cold riding the pine. So it's good to see that Kirk does display some ability to hit the ball there, especially you don't expect the extra base pop from him. Not anymore. I certainly do not. So it's nice that when he is put into the lineup that he is contributing to the Blue Jays offense.
That's good. Yeah. And let's shout out Davis Schneider here, who coming into the series, I believe he was 0 for 21. I think he ended at an 0 for 24 space, but then he had a home run in the first inning today, and it was a good one. Opposite field. Second time in as many weeks that he has gone opposite field, as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. flies out to the warning track as well, and it is now final. The Blue Jays officially lose this game 5-4, and as we predicted, lose the series to Milwaukee. So damn. But going on to Davis Schneider, yeah, big home run. He's gone opposite field again here, and even the outs he made in Game 3 of this series, he had another fly ball to the warning track. He had one that he pulled down the line that I think inches just missed the foul pole. It was looking good for Davis Schneider, and we've talked about how his streakiness is going to continue and is going to be a main thing, and it was kind of in this series, but signs of encouragement, I suppose, for another hot streak starting up for Davis Schneider.
I mean, I think that we can have the conversation and pretty much close the book on what kind of player Davis Schneider is. He's never going to be a guy that has elite batting averages or really the high on base percentage. He's a guy who's going to contribute on extra base hits, and he's going to continue to hit in the top 3 in this Blue Jays order if he does produce that power, because we desperately need that. I mean, I was listening to, the Sportsnet guys talk, and they were kind of saying, oh, Vladdy, his walks, his hits, he might as well bat leadoff. And I thought, that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm a traditionalist. If I got a Juan Pierre or a Kenny Lofton, they're going to be my leadoff guy. But in this day and age in MLB baseball, it almost makes sense. If Schneider goes on a tear, he goes on a tear. But that, 385 average isn't going to stick around for long in the short stretch of games that he plays. There's going to be a lot of swing and miss, but we really have to be thankful for the power that he does supply. I mean, he had a chance
because the lineup needs it. That's the biggest thing our lineup needs right now.
I mean, if he hit one to the opposite field, the one today, if he pulls that baseball to center field that was hit to center field, it's a home run. And then, if the wind's blowing the other way, he's got a 3 home run game. Now that's baseball, as they say. It's not as easy as that. Those don't count. He did rocket one. Hey, kudos to you, Davis Schneider, first inning run. We've talked about this. It's been the theme of this year, not getting runs in the first inning. Well, you got Davis Schneider batting first, second, third, wherever in your order. I think he was second today. And Look what happened. Produced a first inning run. We need that.
Jay's first home run in the first inning since April 29th, and that was a game I was at. Justin Turner hit it, and that was his 2 home run game. That's how long it's been since the Blue Jays have hit a home run in the first inning. And Riley, this wasn't on the script, but I've just had that thought thinking about how the Blue Jays flew out to deep center field twice on the warning track there with the bases loaded. Like, they're hitting the ball hard, which is good, but if either of those 2 baseballs from Kirk or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are down the line, the Blue Jays are up 7-3. We win the series. We're back to 500. I mean, sometimes the guy's throwing 100, I get it. So sometimes, you got to put a good swing on a pitch that's coming in that hard. But man, it just goes to show if the Blue Jays just had a different strategy or just caught it out in front just a touch more, there's a whole different ball game. And it's frustrating to watch as a fan right now.
It is frustrating to watch as a fan, but as a, baseball diving into some analytics, Jesse, timing probably better than I do when a hitter's stride. And, pitchers are like snowflakes, if you want to say that. No 2 are alike. So timing the pitcher is so important. I also want to add Isaiah Kiner-Falefa into that mix of players that have hit the ball hard as of recent. IKF has, to me, I don't know the number on it, but it feels like the last 2 weeks perhaps, he's had a lot of balls hit line drive to the outfield that have been caught. He's just not getting that timing down to send it to either alley. They're either right at the center fielder or, 6, 7, 8 strides away from him that he can get to because they're hung up just a little bit too long. But these, Jesse, are all very good signs. And essentially some luck needs to be involved for these to get down for hits, but also it's a timing thing as well. But we really can't sit here and complain if our guys come up and 12 times in a game, there's a ball hit 95 miles an hour in play. I mean, those are good. More often than not, you will get results. Those are the batting average is higher on plays like those. We just haven't seen the luck. And of course, our timing hasn't been flawless to capitalize and get those down for hits.
Yeah, just in the game today alone, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa had a line out at 100.9 miles per hour exit velocity. He had a ground out at 95, both considered hard hit. Ernie Clement actually was peppering the baseball today as well and did some stuff. But yeah, it's tough. You can teach analytics. You can hit the ball hard as one you want, but at the end of the day, the outs are still outs. And that's what's kind of frustrating for this Toronto Blue Jays team. Just a couple more offensive pieces that caught my attention here. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got the first day off of the season here on Getaway Day, which is wild because there is an off day tomorrow. So you thought maybe you still want to put Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in there. But John Schneider was asked about this pregame. He said, day game after night game, we are getting really into the dog days, like the long stretch, especially coming from Oakland to Milwaukee and then flying back to Toronto tomorrow. Maybe thought this was a good time to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. off of his feet a little bit. And maybe he just got distracted a little bit after his bat got caught in the netting in game 1 of this series. Riley, I've never seen a baseball bat get caught in the netting and stick there for a few innings. Even in my years playing baseball for the last 15 years, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Kind of wild. You always see something new you don't expect to see at the ballpark.
I mean, wow, that was crazy. They kept cutting at Sportsnet, doing a great job at keeping, the camera on it every time there wasn't a, pitched ball or a play It was really funny. There was some sort of mechanism that Chris Bassett used, sort of a claw to grab that out.
Also, major props to Chris Bassett for coming up with that to get that done.
I mean, they call Greg Maddox the professor. Chris Bassett, is some sort of scientist type guy, I guess. He's a smart dude, crafty, innovative. I mean, good for him. You don't see that too often. I personally thought I was sitting watching the game with my girlfriend. We had a good chuckle about that back end launch, and I thought, there's no way they can start this game with that bat in the netting. I thought there was too much risk, kind of like if that falls and it hits someone, we're in big trouble. So sure, it was launched pretty good. It surprised me we kept playing, but they were adamant to get that baseball bat back. And Vladdy, of course, in Vladdy fashion, gets the bat back and, gives it a kiss for the camera, of course.
As he does,
Has some good showmanship. I mean, you've seen him in all these commercials with the Uncrustables, which, by the way, are terrible, and A&W as well. He's all over Sportsnet, and this was another one of those TV moments that he capitalized on. Certainly didn't do it on purpose. Just one of the lighter, funnier moments of the game.
Yeah, there was some good camera action shots too. I saw one circulating on Twitter of one of the Blue Jays photographers who took an actual real nice shot of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. kissing the bat there. So always good. Just reminds me, whenever I see someone like kissing the bat or kissing the baseball, it reminds me of when Irvin Santana was around and he would like smell the baseballs, lick the baseballs and stuff. There's ball players are weird, man, and the Blue Jays are no exceptions. They've got a few of their own.
I saw Irvin Santana pitch for the Atlanta Braves in Citi Field when I went. I think I was in grade 12. Went to a high school baseball trip. We played some exhibition games in upstate New York. Went to Citi Field, and I watched Irving Santana. And actually, he was pitching for the Braves. And the night before, I believe Aaron Harang carried a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Just want to shout out that name, Aaron Harang. I'll never forget. Those were two great ball games in a great ballpark. I don't want to give too much love to the Mets. Who cares? They're a National League team anyways. But Irving Santana, there's a funny one too. Superstition as well, eh? And you got goaltenders in hockey talking to goalposts all the time. Just crazy little things like that. That hey, if that makes you feel good and you think that's going to affect your game, by all means, do that.
All right, back to the Blue Jays and on the offensive side of the ball before we talk a little pitching. The only other thing that really caught my attention here or might be noteworthy for the Toronto Blue Jays going forward is in Game 2 of this series, Kevin Kiermaier fouled a ball off the inside of his knee. He went down in pain. It looked like it hurt. That's got to be one of the most painful things as a hitter is when you drive that ball right off one of your own legs or your ligaments or something. I was expecting to hear a big update today, maybe an IL trip for Kevin Kiermaier, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. John Schneider did say today that he was feeling a little bit better, could maybe get into the game late if needed. I think we're going to use the off day tomorrow to see if things get better. If they don't, then maybe there's another IL trip coming for Kevin Kiermaier. The last time he got hurt is when we saw Addison Barger for the first time. Nathan Lucas left his game last series with a thumb injury, so I don't know if it will be him, or this might not be moot at all. Kevin Kiermaier might be ready to go come the next series, but and maybe this is where you see Spencer Horwitz see a little bit more time in left field. So the Blue Jays are actually pretty good here with a potential Kevin Kiermaier replacement. If
Jesse, there is a situation where we do see Kevin Kiermaier, I want to do a hypothetical here real quick. By the way, listeners, viewers, Jesse and I did not script this episode whatsoever. We're just firing from the hip here. So I'm going to present this.
Buds and Blue Jays unfiltered, baby.
I'm going to present this topic to you, and you're going to love it. This is something you said to me. Like, if Kiermaier does take a stint on the IL, for me, it's got to be Barger that comes up. And you told me that Addison Barger has the hardest swing on the Toronto Blue Jays. There's a ton of swing and miss in that swing, but for right now, I mean, we desperately need that. We desperately need guys who can put the ball out of the park. I don't know where we rank in team home runs, but we should be higher. Wherever we are, we should be higher. And if Barger's able to do that, and another guy, he's a right field third base. He has the perfect makeup for a right field third base type player. And I would really like to see him get into some more games. I think that there was a lot of batted luck with not getting those hits in his first cup of coffee this year. But I think that if he gets another opportunity, we're going to see a power type player, a lot of swing and miss, but a great throwing arm and a great powerful bat that I think will be a great toolsy guy for the Blue Jays to have.
Yeah, and don't forget, last time Addison Barger was here, his girlfriend or fiance was very pregnant. Like, remember he had that weird day where he was sent down for a day and then they called Kimara back a day later. It's because his wife was going into labor. So obviously, guy's making his big league debut, big league pitching his hardest hit as ever, and he's about to become a father for the first time in his life. A lot of big things for Addison Barger here, and so we want to see him. And the reason why the fit is so perfect, Riley, for a third baseman / right fielder to come join the Blue Jays is because our old third baseman and right fielder has been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. In fact, it went official today after Cavan Biggio was in DFA limbo. He's officially gone to the Dodgers. The Blue Jays gave him and a bit of cash to pay off some of their salary for a right-handed relief pitching prospect. And I had his name here somewhere. Yes, Braden Fisher is his name. Now, if you look at the surface number stats, Riley, 5.68 ERA between his time in AA and AAA. But he has thrown 19 innings and does have 30 strikeouts, but the walks seem to be the issue. 15 walks in 19 innings, that won't play. But the Blue Jays clearly sent some money over and bought this prospect, so there is something that they like, and I bet it's the swing and miss this guy can produce. Big curveball. Throws his curveball more than 50% of the time, which maybe explains some of the walk issues, because curveball historically isn't the best pitch to be able to locate well, but I think the Blue Jays genuinely like what they see in this guy. Fastball is about 94, can touch 96, and if maybe they can see the mechanical fix to fix this guy, this could be just another bullpen arm to throw in there, and just a name to know.
I am very okay with this move, regardless of who we send over. I know it's Biggio. I'll touch on that in a second. But they obviously see the upside in the swing and miss. I like that a lot, especially, Jesse, what we saw today with the bullpen. And what we've seen kind of trending as the year has gone on, that there is no certainty with except for Jimmy Garcia. I was going to say Pop, but he didn't have a good outing today, but Garcia's been our best guy, and it's not going to be little up here for very much longer. I can't imagine. I don't know where this guy ranks on the organizational depth charts for relievers, but it's good to have that. Now, Biggio going to the Dodgers, like, hey, he's going to get some time in, because the counter move was the Los Angeles Dodgers sending down third baseman Miguel Vargas, who is very touted international prospect. I don't really know his numbers off by hand, but for me to know an international prospect in the Los Angeles Dodgers organization, there's got to be something there. There's a guy with a ton of upside. I think a guy who's got the power potential. So the Dodgers like Biggio, good for him. Because he's going to
Max Muncy is hurt for them too, right?
Yes,
and their bench is very right-handed. Like Cavan Biggio is going to get there, and he's going to play quite a bit for the Dodgers. So we're going to see a lot of him.
Yeah, he is going to play for a very good team.
Go get a ring, Biggio. Go do it.
No, let's not even go there, Jesse. Let's not even go there.
Okay. I would think it would be nice for him and Teo together, reunited once again, old friends there.
And Freddie Freeman, but the rest of them don't get, just let those three get a ring. And the rest, I don't care. All
right.
Bury that one. We're burying that.
I'm in the anyone but the Yankees camp, but so be it. We'll stick around with that a little later on in the episode. Riley, let's talk a little starting pitching, because you said the pitching I thought was gutsy. The overall stat lines are going to look okay for this one. Jose Barrios gave up 2 solo home runs in his game, 3 runs total. He had that one start all year where he gave up 8 runs. I think in 11 of his other starts, it's been 2 earned runs or less. And in 2 of them, including this one against the Brewers, it was only 3 earned runs. Jose Barrios has been actually quite good. And I thought, look, if this was what a bad Jose Barrios start looks like, the Blue Jays are going to be just fine here. Like solo home runs, the sweeper kind of had its movement and stuff and whatnot, but it was hit pretty hard. But other than that, I thought Jose Barrios looked pretty good. And we can talk a little bit about Kikuchi and Bassett here too, but a quick thought on Barrios, because I know you were locked into that game.
I was super locked into it. He missed 2 pitches. We've seen him when he does miss with his breaking stuff, his softer stuff that comes over the plate. Hitters take advantage of that, and he missed twice, and he got taken advantage of twice. And it's unfortunate, Jesse, that our offense did not help contribute in that ball game. I thought Barrios is fine. This guy's going to be an all-star. If he continues to pitch well, I wouldn't be surprised if he would be the starter for the American League team this year. I know that he's going to have to pitch well, Jesse, but
Skubal probably, but yeah.
Skubal's been great, and so has I think there's a couple Boston guys in Houck, and that Reese Olson has pitched well. But I mean, Barrios, for how he has pitched this year, it wouldn't surprise me. He's going to be an all-star. He's on pace to have one of his career years, essentially, where he was going back to Minnesota. Like, this reminds me of him in 2018, and there might even be more swing and miss there.
Yeah, he's been doing good. The ground balls have been up immensely for Jose Barrios, which has really improved his profile, which is always good to see. The other two starting pitchers in this series, Yusei Kikuchi, he walked 4 and gave up 3 hits, but I don't want to blame umpires because it went both ways, but the umpiring was very bad against Yusei Kikuchi in this game. His pitch count got elevated early, but again, he was able to pitch in and out of jams and limit the damage. I think Milwaukee went like 0 for 24 with runners in scoring position until about midway through the game here today, so I guess you can either say that, well, that's unlucky Milwaukee hitting, or that's good Blue Jays pitching to lock in when runners get on base. And same thing for Chris Bassett. He also walked 4 batters today. I think it tied a season high for walks issued in a game. He started cruising pretty early, but then he threw 30-plus pitches in the bottom of the 4th. He escaped a bases-loaded 1-out jam, and he was laboring a lot. Like, he was stepping off a lot, throwing over a lot. There were other situations too where like Alejandro Kirk came out, had to deliver some signs. Like, he was really laboring. And I think they said on the broadcast today too that today's game might have been the hottest temperature-wise the Blue Jays have played all year, which I wouldn't think in Milwaukee that would be the case. But apparently, as we're getting into the dog days of summer, apparently that was it. So maybe Chris Bassett was just getting maybe a little heat, maybe a little tired and whatever. But either way, he was able to struggle through and grind and guts it out, which is kind of reminiscent of what we've seen from Chris Bassett so far this season. Kikuchi and Bassett, Riley, do you have a take on any of those?
Bassett today, bases loaded jam, escaped it unscathed. I think the next inning or the inning after, bases loaded jam, comes out, no damage. In the inning after that, 2 runners on, first and second. He escapes that. So in those 3 innings alone, that's 8 men left on base. Yeah, the Brewers weren't hitting with runners in scoring position, but there is the luck element. Had they capitalized on that, Bassett might have seen a lot less innings in this ball game. I mean, our bullpen did not help us out too much. Bassett came in or was pulled. We had runners on. Pop couldn't get the job done. Mesa couldn't get the job done. And that kind of led to the 5 runs. That's what happened. Some of them, I believe, were charged to Chris Bassett. That's fine. But the 4 walks, Jesse, we had 2 pitchers in this series in Yusei Kikuchi and Chris Bassett will come out of their starts with 4 walks. I mean, I don't love that. Yusei Kikuchi, he's very suspect to it, but this year he has done a very good job at, his control over the strike zone. Bassett, not a culprit for that. I did not expect that. I think he was okay today and got extremely lucky at points. Yes, his stuff is nasty, and he is a very underrated pitcher for many reasons, but he got very lucky that we weren't out of that ball game in the early to middle stages of it before the bullpen even came in.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We'll see. I'm feeling less hopeful about our starting rotation, but the results still keep coming, so I guess we will ride to it. But I do feel like there is a bad blow up or 2 coming for one of these 3 starting pitchers, and Bassett's due for one of these. He has about 3 or 4 of them a season, and he's been on a roll, so I think one might be coming for him, especially after the outing he had today. Riley, I had this whole note planned praising our bullpen coming into this episode. I was going to say, look at all this. Look at what's happening. And yeah, I can't do that anymore. But the highlight of it was in game 2 of this series, they were fantastic. They went 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, struck out 6. Jimmy Garcia and Nate Pearson both struck out the side. In fact, Jimmy Garcia came in the 8th and was able to pitch in the 9th to get his 5th save of the season. And I was thinking, man, our bullpen's starting to look really good. And then today happened. Zach Pop, who's been quite good all year. I'm not ready to send him down or anything yet, but a tough one here today. And then this happens more often than I think it should, but Tim Mesa is your first lefty to come in to face the lefty, and he's unable to get him out. And then the righty comes in, crushes one against him, and then he faces another lefty and can't get him out either. And it's I'm getting to the point where I understand Tim Mesa. He's the longest serving Blue Jay on the team. He was so good last year, and he's been so good for years past. But at what point do you start to be like, all right, Tim, maybe we got to look at another option here. The problem is, I guess, Brandon Littell and Genesis Cabrera have not been good either. So I don't know what the solution is here to fix this. What do you got?
Our lefties have simply not been good this year. And Little is kind of out of the he is basically
Yeah, he did come into the 9th today in the lowest leverage situation for the Toronto Blue Jays, and he was able to get the job done there and seal the door. But again, we've kind of checked out at that point. We weren't really sure what to expect from Brandon Littell, so I don't know. We will see there. Riley, quick thought on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely kind of in over his head. I expect more from Genesis Cabrera and Mesa. I did not see this decline I did not have this on my bingo card coming into this
Mhm.
year. I thought our lefties were going to be above league average, and we have just kind of scraped the bottom of the barrel with them for now. But I can tell you that after watching our bullpen in game 2, that Garcia is our closer, and if Nate Pearson is going to be a good guy to have in the 8th inning, then pitch him in the 8th inning.
Right.
That's for me the recipe as of right now. When we walk into these next couple series, if there is no damage done in the 8th and the 9th with those two arms coming out of the bullpen, that's what we rock with. For me, that's the best chance for us to be successful in preventing runners from getting on base and preventing them from scoring any runs in a high leverage situation.
All right, it'll be good. We expect a big rebound as the Blue Jays do have an off day. We return back home. I believe the Cleveland Guardians are coming back into town, and just like Milwaukee, when we got the bottom of their rotation, we will get the bottom of Cleveland's rotation coming into our series. But before we get there, a few more bits of notes. And for the first time since March, we have a Joey Votto update. John Schneider was asked before the game, what's the deal with Joey Votto? And he actually seemed optimistic for the first time in a long time. He says he's actually really good. He's been swinging the cage, and he might be on a minor league rehab assignment very soon for Joey Votto. So maybe it'll be soon time for the Joey Votto updates. So looking forward to that. And Riley, on the farm, down in Buffalo, did you see what Yariel Rodriguez just did in his latest outing?
Yep. Isaac Bass, his favorite Blue Jay. Coin that, Jesse. Isaac Bass's favorite Toronto Blue Jay. Yariel Rodriguez needs to be on this with how this pitching has gone this year. I didn't think we were losing out when he went down, and then you saw what happened with Manoah. You see our other arms struggling. We need him to come back to this big league roster. We are desperately in need of pitchers to give us some innings, and Rodriguez is that guy. I can't wait till he's back with the big league club because it's got to be soon.
Faced 15 batters, struck out 10 of them. That will work every single time. In fact, Alek Manoah's spot in the rotation does come up on Saturday, and the Blue Jays really have a decision. With the off day, do you move Jose Barrios up a day and pitch him, and then have all your starters go on regular rest? Or do you use this spot to put in your Bowden Francis Yariel Rodriguez? And reading between the lines from what John Schneider said pregame today, it does sound like Yariel Rodriguez is probably going to get that start on Saturday. So it'll be good to see him back in the rotation here. And as long as he's throwing strikes and hammering that zone, I think the expectation should be quality, good stuff. Keep us in the game for Yariel Rodriguez, especially if the plan next year is to have him in your starting rotation. This is the time to build him up, get that inning pitch ready to go, so that way in next year he's full on and can be a key member of our rotation.
The American League Central is not as bad as it was last year. The Kansas City Royals are doing good things, but atop of that division sits a very good Cleveland Guardians ball club. This is an important series. And if Yariel Rodriguez, we saw he's a guy who pitches with pure emotion. This is a great series for him to pitch in. I hope he does. We got to have a kind of a fire on all cylinders type series, Jesse. Our pitchers giving us 6 quality innings at least, and our bats being able to produce in the clutch, runners in scoring position, getting runs early in the ball game, bullpen being able to defend the lead or hold the game close. I don't care what it is. But we have just kind of fallen apart in kind of one and or multiple aspects of the game. And it's resulted in kind of how we sit this year. 32-34 record, Jesse. Not ideal. This is not where I thought we would be at this point in the year.
All right, probable pitchers for this weekend series. Kevin Gausman coming off that massive complete game shutout against Oakland against Logan Allen. Yariel Rodriguez against Carlos Carrasco, and then Jose Barrios against Ben Lively on Sunday. Pick to click, famous players, a big play, big moment. How do you think we do? All that stuff in the series against Cleveland.
Well, here's the thing about Jose Barrios. He's already pitched in that division. This is scary for me. I know it's kind of a different ball club, whether they have a read on him or not. My thought is that he's either going to go 8 innings of scoreless ball or not see the 5th inning kind of thing. I will hope Yariel has a good start too. The Gauze man, give him another complete game. Nah, I'll settle with seven innings there. But our offense, man, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if he could add some pop, I think Progressive Field's got kind of a tall wall, but shallow in left field. I think he's got a good chance. He's my pick to click as a hitter, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I would love to see some extra base hits in this series for Vladdy.
Jose Barrios has an ERA of 4.73 in his career against the Guardians, and he's only faced them twice as a member of the Blue Jays, but both those times were in 2022 when Jose Barrios was not right, and he allowed 6 and 8 earned runs respectively against Cleveland. We'll take the under on both of those going into this series. It's hard to say we expect a series win with how bad this Toronto Blue Jays has been right now, but like on paper, these are players that the Blue Jays offense should hit well again. The young core of Blue Jays should get things going, get stuff together. I can see us winning definitely 1, if not 2. We're back home on a weekend. Yeah, I say we take 2 out of 3 against Cleveland, and give me Dalton Varsho as a guy to finally get up and heat up again at the plate.
You mean our lead or our top of the leaderboard home run leader for the Toronto Blue Jays? Crazy. We're
going off the board here. Yeah.
Well, that's not off the board, but again, it's guy who has showcased what he can do this year, and the bat has gone cold. Jesse, we can't have this, and Cleveland's a very good team, man. I would not surprise me if our pitchers are on. It also wouldn't surprise me if there's a game where we get 4 hit, because that seems to be what happens. You said Tanner Bybee, I think, is pitching, who's a good arm, don't get me wrong, but watch him 4 hit us, a guy who we should be able to score multiple runs off of.
Logan Allen, Carlos Carrasco, Ben Lively.
The Blake Lively's brother there, or whatever. I don't sure, whatever. Yeah, watch him, basically settle us down and have just the best start he could against the Toronto Blue Jays for the team that we have. I'd love a series victory, Jesse. I don't know if that's happening. Cleveland's got a good ball club. 1 win for sure. I'll take a series win though.
We'll see. All we know is that we will be back late Sunday evening to recap the Cleveland Guardians series. Hopefully we're recapping something a little better. We thought going live before the end of the game would be the spark the Blue Jays needed to get the one and like reverse jinx them, if you will. It almost happened. But unfortunately, like the Blue Jays have all season, they came a little short. Riley's got to run. Riley is heard there was an opening in MLB for Angel Hernandez retiring, and heard there was an umpire spot opening up. So Riley is in training. So we got to let him get to the field to umpire some baseball games. And I got stuff to do as well. So Riley, anything else you want to say before we run out of here?
Well, let's just make this whole fan base of Buds and Blue Jays hate me because I'm an umpire. Yeah. No, we'll see what we
are an umpire-friendly show over here at Buds and Blue Jays.
Everyone that I umpire this year has been very respectful and showcased their knowledge of the game, along with my own knowledge of the game. It's a treat. I love what I do. Jesse, you also have some big ball games coming your way. Good luck to the Parkhurst Pirates. That number 40, that number 45 on that team is an electric ball player. Go out to Melrose and watch him hit doubles to the power alley, baby.
All right, you're sharing my secrets here, Riley, but sure, if you're in the area, hit me up. Come watch me.
Like a pitcher in the South Hastings League is all over this pod, eh?
Sure. You never know. You never know. All right, for Riley McConnell, I'm Jesse Burrell. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back Sunday night to recap the Cleveland Guardians series, and hopefully the Blue Jays can crawl back just a little bit closer to 500. For next time, let's go Blue Jays.
Thanks, guys.